a mindset shift, and I was telling myself something different instead of being that 5, 8, 7, 8, 10-year-old kid that was always told that I should be seen and not heard. That girl is still there, but that girl has evolved into an adult. And so the
Right.
mindset shift is like there, like it's okay to be able to be who you are. And so I have this different confidence, this radiance, this expression of myself, and I feel good about it. Like,
Yeah.
and me studying some of the sciences. So yeah, it's a mindset shift. And I think my mindset shift has happened over time. It wasn't an overnight thing. And I truly believe it started maybe with that podcast and getting comfortable.
Mm.
And that was about 5 years ago. And so
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
having that practice and posting more on TikTok, you became a lot more comfortable because I feel like you're a lot more tech savvy than I am. And it's funny because
Yeah.
you think me being like younger, once again,
Yeah. Yeah.
technology transcends generations. Like I am still learning how to work my iPhone. I was having technical difficulties with my MacBook, like, and
Yeah.
I'm just sitting
Yeah.
here like
Yeah.
I should be better. But some people just not equipped with this
Yeah.
knowledge.
Yeah, you'll get it. It comes naturally to some people, and sometimes it's just about, and the more you do, and like it's like I love that, you know, what I love about you is your bravery to just go out there and experience, like going to Thailand by yourself without me. When I tell you, I was so geeked about that, and moving and being in Cleveland and being out on your own, and all of your siblings, and not just you, and I hope I
Mm,
get the opportunity to talk to them on this podcast, because I
you
kind of
definitely
want that
will.
to be a thing. I want to
Mm,
do that. That's one of the things we're working towards. But there's so many things that I admire about you, and the interesting thing that I get to like brag about is that you're an extension of me. So I
mm,
birthed you, so that means it was in me, like from a
yeah.
spiritual standpoint.
Yeah.
And so I love that. I see you as a reflection of me sometimes, and my other children too. But specifically you with that adventurous side, I see where that comes from. I see that that was something at the time that I would have loved to have done. But because I was, if we go back to some of the healing that I have done, I realized that I was always in survival mode.
Hmm.
And it was always the next thing that I had to do, because I was a parent that was solely responsible for you. Even though I was in relationships, I was still mostly responsible and 100%, the caretaker. And because of that, I didn't have time to be the adventurer, the wanderer. I did it in bits and pieces because we was always traveling somewhere. I was like,
Sure.
my kids went
Or
everywhere with
moving.
me.
Yeah. You were
Yeah, we were
moving.
always moving. We was always going different places, and I worked as hard as I did. And my healing with that is this. When I realized that I was in survival mode and I came out of it and learned to be present and be in this space of not worrying about tomorrow and worrying about what happened yesterday,
Right.
it kind of built this confidence. It kind of built up to this awareness of how great this life experience is. And then I get to go back and look at things in a perspective in a different way. Instead of looking at things in a negative of what I missed, I
Mm,
get to go back and have fond memories of it happened and that was it. But now we have now, and this is where we are now, if that makes sense.
exactly. It does. And I want to touch on something you said earlier because what was I doing? I was doing YouTube. I follow a lot of inspirational people and they're talking about a lot of the things that they receive from their parents. And one of the things I will say that you did pass on that I don't think you realize is that need to be in survival mode all the time. And it wasn't until this year that I actually realized that I've always constantly been in survival mode. I think it's just I have a little more delulu than you. So I'm just like, okay, I can go off and I can move to Las Vegas. I feel like I can move to Thailand and go anywhere because the one thing you ingrained in me with the survivor mode is to also make sure that you're not constantly in that mode. Like check yourself. Every now and again, you'll get these bits of like consciousness where you're just like, okay, I have been working. That one time when I was working at that salon, I was working like 6, 7 days a week, and you're just like, why are you working so much? And I'm just thinking, well, I have to pay these
Pause.
bills. Pause. Oh,
No, no, no. I'm saying you took a pause. No, not pause. I'm saying pause as you took a pause, and
I
that's what
took a
we need.
pause.
Every
Yes.
every yeah, every now and again we will get our higher consciousness, our higher self will say, okay,
Mhm.
pause. That
Yes.
comma will come up. I say comma,
Mhm.
pause, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
And it's
You
like
need
it
it.
gives you this insight was like, oh my gosh, I have been in survival mode. Oh my gosh, let me take a beat. Oh my gosh,
Mhm.
that's part of self-care, which is something that I am 1,000% always in favor of. And
Mm.
one of the things that prompted me to, start my body butter business and the other stuff and and this and it's just so much that we can learn from each other if we
Mm.
just take the time to just be observant and have that self-awareness. And we can only do that when in stillness, when we take a
Mhm.
pause.
Mhm. You gotta
When we take a
breathe. You
pause.
gotta. And when you said pause, I
Yeah.
like breathe. I'm like, wait, what?
No, yeah,
But
yeah,
I was
yeah, yeah,
also
yeah,
thinking
yeah.
about
Yeah.
breathing too, because we don't take enough breaths during the day too, and I'm constantly like have to remember to breathe. Like
Right.
those deep breaths really like
And
so. Pause is like a general term, like breathing, taking a pause on
mhm,
overworking,
that's
just yeah.
intentional. Yeah.
Mhm.
We're
Mhm.
talking
Mhm.
about intention. This is another thing. Intention, setting intentions. We have to be intentional
Mhm.
about taking those moments to get clarity, to take a breath, to breathe, for our breath to fuel ourselves in our body, to talk to
Mhm.
ourselves in our body. Like there's this whole metaphysical world out there that I learned about. And, it came from when I think it really kickstarted. It started when I was 10 because I was always interested in astrology. Then it
Mm.
really kickstarted and I came out of survival mode when I had to have my surgery to have a hysterectomy. And it was very devastating for me. And that was the universe in some
Mm.
way giving me that pause. And
Mm.
then I really started to get into self-awareness and things like that because I couldn't go anywhere. I was down for 6 weeks. That is the
Mm.
longest amount of downtime that I've had in my life since
Mhm.
coming into this
You were
incarnation
quiet
and
during
having
that
to.
time too. Like you really did a pause because I don't think you told anyone about your hysterectomy until after you got it. And then you just randomly said it and I was just like, pause.
The day before. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, it was the
part
day
of it,
before. Yeah. Was it the day
yeah, it
before
was the
you're
day
going in?
before. It was,
Okay.
and everybody was pissed. I remember that everyone was pissed. My
Because you
brothers
were
were pissed.
silently going
Um,
through it and didn't tell anyone about it. And
yeah,
then I'm like, wow.
yeah, yeah, because it was really scary for me. And I did not, because I was always the one, not necessarily the glue of the family, but I
Mm.
think a lot of people did look to me as this strong woman, this pillar. And this is where we also got to talk about this too, Black women and how much we sacrifice and we do and we don't get the support. I'm in book club and a study group with one of my business partners, former business partners, but we're still like working together on some things. And that's one of the things that she wrote a book about. And, I'll probably invite her on so we can talk about these things and talk about some spirituality and the metaphysical sciences. And I think at that time,
Mm.
um, you know, it, I got into the metaphysical sciences and took that pause and was quiet because I needed to get back to me.
Mm.
Because I literally, because of all the energy and the work and the stress and the survival mode that I was in affected me spiritually. I truly believe that, to the point where I was growing all these growths in my uterus, and they had mentioned that it looked precancerous. Goodness gracious. Thank the universe, divine source creator, that it wasn't. But I ended up having my womb taken out, and it was so devastating to me. And spiritually, it was devastating to me. There's so many things that's connected to our spirituality and this physical body, this temple. And it
Mm.
really did do a number on me mentally, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. And it was
Mm.
something that I was being strong within myself because I did not want to be a burden or stress my family out. And I
Mm.
think that we have a tendency as women or people in this experience who are caretakers and very nurturing, we don't realize how devastating it is for us to hold all that in. I was holding a lot of energy and pain, and it really did do something to me. And I think it prompted me, or that event, that traumatic event, triggered this road to being more self aware, aligning
Mm.
with spirituality. My consciousness has evolved and grown and been edified so much through the study of all these things. So that's layers to that. I think I'll have to do, like, we're talking now, and at some point we may, focus things in. I think we're talking about a lot of things, but it's everything that's kind of linked because everything is layered. Life is layered.
It is.
And that is why I was quiet, because I did not want my children to worry
Mm,
in the event something had occurred, because it was a risk. I wanted you to be aware that I was having the surgery. And that's why I did it the day before. And I
mm,
literally swore Tiffany and Trinity to secrecy, because they were the only ones who knew. And they only knew a week before everything had occurred.
mm.
But,
That's insane.
it was,
Like keeping it
yeah,
in
that,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
long.
I
Yeah,
can, I can
yeah.
keep a secret.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I can keep a secret. And it's like, and it was something that maybe I should have shared with the family, because my brothers were pissed. It was like, how could you do that? But the thing about that is that I found out that my brothers had things that they were going through as men that they didn't tell me. And I was like, see, I think we have to restructure, um, how and what we share. We should have enough trust in our family and those that we
Mm,
love and we know care about us. We should have that trust to be able to come and share. And I think that that lends to the mindset and us feeling that we don't want to be looked a certain way
mm.
when we share some of those weaknesses. Does that make sense?
It's sad how we feel like we can't be vulnerable. And
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I feel like family does is we do kind of tease on like weak parts, what we deem as weak parts and like funny parts sometimes. Like growing up, like my cousins, I know we always, what is it? I'm trying to see where I'm getting here. We always
Raz,
make
like
jokes
always.
and
Yeah.
yeah, we're joking with each other. And like, of course, we're like, if something makes you different, we like tease on it. But like
Mm.
sometimes at some point, I think it becomes a subconscious thing that we feel we can't share everything with everybody because the minute we are vulnerable with our family or with people that we love or care about, they take
It
that
can be
moment
leveraged
as a way to
against
take a
us.
shot. Yes.
Yeah, it
So
can be used as leverage. Yeah, and we have to learn to stop doing that,
we really
because it
do.
does play on us emotionally and mentally and
It's a
spiritually.
joke at
And I
someone
think,
else's expense, and we don't realize that.
right. Which brings me to, and I just had a thought, and hopefully I'm not too off subject, but coming up in my generation, it used to be called this thing where, the mother's joke or the dozens or whatever they call it. They have these different phrases where, they take whatever is, something that's hurtful to someone, and they make it a joke, like just like what you said. And it's called,
Hmm.
the mama jokes or rizzing or whatever. There's all different terms now, and people do that as a defense mechanism. Like, say, for instance, there's another example that just came to mind with Eminem and 8 Mile and that movie, and how everything that was negative or something that he was ashamed of in his life, to get ahead of someone using that as part of the rap to put him down, he did
Hmm.
it himself.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think that that's a defense mechanism that a lot of people use to kind of dull whatever that lacking is in that person, whatever that shame is. And what we have to do is call it exactly what it is, see
Mm.
that it's a shameful event, and then face it. And that's part of what healing, unfolds from it.
Hmm.
Because whatever self another example is, I'm self-conscious about not having a rear end, and people go out and they have all this plastic surgery to reshape their body to look a certain way. Because the reason I'm self-conscious about it, and this is me being vulnerable and sharing a weakness, is that when I was younger and I was coming up through high school, and people were attracted to me, and I remember one person in particular used to say, "You would be perfect if you had a butt, an ass."
Hmm.
And it kind of stuck with me. And then I was so fixated, because this person took the one thing that I didn't really think about, but then brought it to my attention. And now I'm having these internal thoughts and dialogues about it as it being a negative thing. And I do notice that people are attracted to women that have a rear end that looks a certain way. And I used to always be self conscious. I almost had plastic surgery. I wanted to have plastic surgery. Now I decided, no, for what? I
No,
am totally fine
literally.
with the way God made me.
Talking to a lot of the women that do come in at my job, I realize that specifically men, I don't know if women do that too, but I notice a certain type of man comes in when he knows that you're better than, not better than them, I'm sorry. When he knows that you have your stuff together, he knows that you're confident. He takes that one thing that he feels you might be insecure about, and then he blows it up like it's like a big thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the
that's
one
exactly
thing
what that was.
the one thing that
Exactly.
you think in your head is lacking, that person like picks at it and makes you feel like you're lesser because they don't feel like they deserve you. Subconsciously, I feel like. So they're trying to bring you down to their level
That
or to their frequency. So when you said that, so many people have told me like, "Oh, you have no behind. You're so cute. Like I wish you had a butt." And I'm just thinking, well, if you wish that, you're not meant for me. Like you're not my partner.
right. And see the
Why would I
yes,
bring myself
people
down?
yes,
People really
that
try to
is
break me
so
down.
yeah, when people get a whiff energetically, and I'm going to say
Mhm.
spiritually, from a spiritual perspective and a spiritual standpoint, when people get an instinct that you may have an insecurity about something, they bring attention to it. So you are
Mhm.
looking at the negative because, psychologically, mentally, our mind is set to protect us. So we're going to always look to whatever that negative thing is, and we're going to try to find things to protect ourselves. That's why I'm taking psychology, and I want to go and take
Mm.
a psychology course because I really want to work more on understanding the mind and learn about mindset and things. And it's like when you say that, it's like I go back and like I'm okay with it. I've been delivered and healed and saved from that because I am perfectly made exactly the way that I am. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, some people don't come to that healing, that mindset shift. They do in their own time. And I'm certainly always looking forward to seeing when a lot of people in my experience that I past, present, and I guess in the future as well, we can include that those people that I have exchanges with, that they come to that, because I always want to be around high vibrational people who are on the path to healing and self-awareness, because there's so much that has been programmed into us for us to feel like we are lacking in some way.